Arsenal and Manchester City played out to a 0-0 draw at the Etihad to keep them both in the title race. Now, while it definitely gives an advantage to Liverpool right now, I think from the Arsenal perspective it's actually a good result. But what did I think about the game and what do I think about the future of Arsenal this season? Let's get into it. Now, it's been a bit annoying that Arsenal haven't played in over 2 weeks now and we come back against Manchester City away, but I was silently a little bit confident for this game, as you could probably see by my videos, and I think overall I'll take the result at the end of the day. Now, I know a lot of people were a little bit upset that Arsenal didn't really go for it or didn't really try to attack too much because we played a very different low block that we haven't really done before. But overall, the improvement from last year is definitely there. We got thrashed there last year, home and away, and we didn't concede to Man City in the league this year. And in 3 games we played against them, they haven't beat us in any of them, so I think I'll take that. But I actually liked how Arsenal played in this game. Now, I know a lot of people are going to criticise it. I can understand the neutrals aren't too happy, but I think from an Arsenal perspective, how we played in that low block and let Manchester City have the possession actually is not the bad thing in the world. We're a team that very much rely on having a lot of pressure and keeping the ball a lot. So when we play teams that also want to do this, we've seen a lot of struggle because they've intensely tried to get the ball back off us. And when we press so intensely, people get tired easier, we get injuries, and they can get past our team later on in game. And this often makes us make rash decisions when we don't need to, and we saw this a lot against teams like Porto. Now, at the Emirates, I expect Arsenal to always probably have at least around 50% possession against these top sides, or at least be competitive in that nature, retaining possession and keeping the ball. But when you go away to teams like Manchester City, even Liverpool, and teams in Europe like Real Madrid or Bayern, which we're going to have to do, I don't mind Arsenal letting the other team play with the ball and being in a low block looking for the break. It's good to have different ways of your system and good to have different ways of playing against these bigger teams. And I actually thought, okay, yeah, I would want us to have a little bit more possession because they only had around 28%, but it proves how good our defense is. Not only I think the setups are brilliant, because even though we changed the setup in this game, they still defended brilliantly. The players are also individually excellent. I think there's a real argument to say that all the back 5, especially the 4 defenders over Raya, are exceptional at the moment and some of the best in the world. I think Arsenal personally have the best defense in Europe now, and I think it's not close. And the stats do back that up with the fact they have the lowest XG, although they haven't conceded the least amount of goals, as teams have conceded a little bit less. But in the league comparison, I don't really see that as them having a better defense. And of course, I think all of you are probably going to say the same thing. I think Saliba was my man of the match, but there's also been a lot of arguments for Gabriel also having a brilliant game, and I think they were all excellent in defense. Now, I don't really care about all the arguments of who's actually better, because who really cares? We've got 2 amazing centre backs, some of the best in the world, and they play even better brilliantly together. Now, I don't think Haaland's on great form. I said this going into this match that I'm not really worried about him, especially considering our record against him recently. And this game happened the same thing. Of course, he missed the ball in a brilliant chance where he probably should score, but Saliba's physicality just often deals with him, and if he can't, Gabriel comes and helps. And Saliba and Gabriel are the perfect 2 centre backs when you've got a big physical forward like that. They know what to do, and as long as they're not getting outpaced by him, he's not really an issue. And Haaland now hasn't been an issue in 3 games this season that we've played against them at all. And even with their brilliant creative players such as De Bruyne, brilliant midfielders like Silva and Rodri, they can't even get the ball really to Haaland, and nothing really happened. But I will go into more of the defenders and the defence as a whole, looking specifically at the centre backs in a video later on that will probably be coming out today, so I would go and recommend that if you want to get the in-depth stats and sort of how Arsenal were able to be so successful. But I think a lot of people said before today, even if we lose, it's a very much learning process, and obviously I'm quite optimistic, I would say, in comparison to most Arsenal fans, so I look at everything as a learning process. But I can understand the frustrations of not winning a game that was kind of there for us. We definitely could have had a chance, and Man City aren't playing brilliantly at the ears, but Arsenal are on that level now, so I can understand the frustrations there. But I'm at least happy that we were able to play a bit of a different game, and Arteta has clearly learned a lot. Even though we didn't win, we've learned a lot from that game. We can play a low block and just shut down shop. This is very important. Maybe if we get Manchester City in the semi-finals, if we get Bayern in the Champions League quarters, going away to these teams and just parking the bus like this is actually the system nowadays, because there's no away goals in them competitions, so it could definitely help us in the future. And now, while our attack wasn't exactly very effective, I can't really blame them in the circumstances. We playing against a very good defence and didn't really have much of the ball, so there's not a lot you can really do. And despite Saka obviously trying to recover from that injury that he obviously had some fatigue and had to come off in this game, and that's probably just the fact he hasn't trained full blown until recently, probably nursing that injury. He also did 4 defensive tackles today, which you can say about his performances going forward. That is brilliant work getting back and helping the team, and that will always be appreciated when our attacking players are doing that. And some of the other people I want to quickly talk about is Gabriel Jesus. Now, I think I really wanted him to play on that left. I thought that was a better option than Trossard. I've made this point very clear, and I still think he's an insane dribbler. He just needs to be more decisive in decision making. He just takes way too long on the ball sometimes, and when he's on the wing you can see it even more evidently because he's getting the ball a lot deeper out and he actually has to make big decisions rather than just being in the box. He is a good player, but he just needs to get better at making decisions, because then he could start for this team, but I don't see him getting in there when we have a full 11 right now because of this issue. He's not deadly enough, he's not clinical enough in these situations, and you can say the same about Havertz and some other players in our team. They don't really faff around with it, they kind of just make a decision quickly, which I think is much more respected in our team. And I also think we have some issues in our midfield. Like, I don't think Jorginho is a bad player, and I've said that if you can get him deeper it works a bit more because you get the passes across. Obviously, I think we would all probably prefer Partey to be in there. He came on today, Partey. Some people say he's better than Jorginho, some people say he's not. I don't know. He was that much better, but he tried his best at least. But you can definitely tell there's definitely some sharpness issues with him. He hasn't played a lot, so that's definitely reasonable, and you can understand that. And maybe you give Partey and Zinchenko a go against Luton in the week. Luton are a good team though, so you don't want to put a too weak of a team out. But obviously, these are some players that could come in for the game on the weekend. Now, the game overall was very boring, but I don't really mind in a sense. When you have 8 centre backs on the pitch and 2 DMs each, 4 DMs, then this is probably going to happen. It's going to be like this way probably when Man City and Arsenal play, and it has been this season. But maybe this is the stepping stone that we need to actually be dominant in the future. Last year we were getting thrashed by them, so at least now it's a lot more comfortable. And Gabriel, Saliba, Kiwior, White and Rice are insane, and I think they really do help the team amazingly. And overall, this leads us to not really know any more answers about the title race. Another draw between these sides. Obviously, we've got the most points against the other 2 teams, but it hasn't mattered because we've dropped points in other games. And Liverpool are now 2 points clear of Arsenal and Man City, and obviously none of the top 3 have to play each other again. 9 games left is very important. Liverpool won against Brighton on the day, and they were felt quite good, but they keep conceding early and having to come back, which might catch up with them eventually. We've all got games in midweeks, which you expect probably to win. It's quite easy games, but obviously we'll have to see. And then Liverpool have Man United away on the weekend, which obviously could be a big one, but we've got to play them not soon after. We've got Brighton away, which we know can be a tough fixture because we know what Brighton are like, so we're going to have to be ready for that. Every single game is a cup final now. It matters so much completely, and we've just got to continue the momentum going. We've still not lost a league game this year, and that was the first time we dropped points, so we've still got a lot of momentum. But what did you guys think? Were you overall disappointed, or will you take that result given the circumstances on the day and we move forward to our next game against Luton? Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and if you want to see any of my other videos, please go and check my playlists out where I post all my videos, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.